Hi, we're here with Lee Condell from Performance Boating in New South Wales, who's just come back from the Sydney to Hobart race, finishing second on IRC in the double-handed division and third in ORCI in the double-handed division. And Lee's just going to give us a tour of Sun Fast racing here today, just go through all the modifications and options we've fitted to the boat to getting it ready for the Cat 1 race, Sydney to Hobart. Over to you, Lee.
Okay, so there's no right or wrong, but I'll just talk you through some of my thinking and how this boat's been set up, and we'll just work our way forward. The most obvious thing is what we've set up here at the back of the boat. So we've got a solar panel at 140, and I've had a custom frame made under to support it, but it also means that it's nothing sitting on the life raft, so you can still get the life raft out in a hurry. For Hobart, we have to carry more than the fuel tank capacity, so we've got a jerry can tucked in there, which we can get out quickly and easily as well. We've got both 4G antenna and a SATCOM antenna here on the transom. For Australian regulations, we have to narrow the top and add an extra lifeline. So we've had to get that welded on and add on, and we've also had to add this lower one here, which is a requirement in Australia but nowhere else. We've beefed up the runner blocks to 2 tons from 1 ton. Because you can get pretty close to the limit on the originals. And what's also noticeable is we've added an extra set of strong points and spinnaker turning blocks. So on this boat, we've made a choice to have a symmetric 2, an S2, and an A4. I wanted to be able to run deep in lighter areas. But then once we were above the top end of the S2, then we switch into an A sail. And then the third of our 4 off the wind sails that we're allowed to carry for Hobart is a code 0. And then we've got a light wind J0. We wanted the boat to be set up in such a way that making crossovers was going to be quick and easy, so we're never bareheaded in sail changes. So that's why we've got 2 sets of sheets. We've also got 2 staysails. We've got a spinnaker staysail and a Jeanneau staysail. And we also made the decision to not have a trysail and have a triple reef mainsail. My thinking is if the conditions are that bad that you're needing to get rid of a second reef mainsail, the last thing you want to be doing is trying to get a mainsail out of the way and put a trysail up. It's just not going to happen on a boat this size. So yes, you're carrying a little bit of weight in a third reef line, but it's far more important in my mind that you can reduce sail quickly and easily. The last thing you want to do is have a sail flogging and breaking battens, and then that compromises the rest of your race, and you may even have to retire. So we wanted to make sure that was quick and easy. So to go with the extra set of spinnaker sheets, we've got an extra set of tweakers here, and an extra clutch for those tweakers, so that runs really well. We've changed the setup here, so we've got the fine tune for the runners right beside the helm here with the foot straps. So in our little seat here, so you've got the fine tune on the runners right here at your hand, and then the fine tune in the main sheet is in its normal position, but we've got the main sheet traveller here. And that's easy to reach down and pull forward. It just seems to work a little bit better. Obviously lots of rope banks to try and tidy up as much as we can, because you end up with a forest of rope on these boats. And we've got V7 plotters on each side with autopilot controls outboard, and also we've got an autopilot remote. And then what's noticeable up here is we've got an extra 2 clutches on either side. So we've set up a jib Cunningham so that we can actually reef the headsails. I haven't talked to you about the headsails yet, but so we've got an AP all-purpose headsail which is reefable. So the Cunningham allows us to drop the halyard from here to a predetermined point, take on the Cunningham, and all we got to do is do the switch over of the sheet. Just makes it quicker and easier being able to take care of the luff of the headsail during a reef from the cockpit. And then our tack lines, we've got double tack lines. One of them is a 2-to-1 for the code 0, and the other 1-to-1. Going forward, you can see we've got a carbon pole for the S2. Rather than have a bolt rope, we've got cars on the mainsail. The other thing that was really important to me, and this proved to be incredibly valuable on our way over across Bass Strait, is these reef points which clip into the Talaskas here. What I found originally was you were trying to use a finger to pull this down to get the Talaska in, which is clearly very difficult to do in a blow. So I put these hand loops on so you can actually hold it down with one hand and then clip in with the other. It just makes it much easier. And in Bass Strait, we got seriously overpowered, and we ended up having to turn up into the breeze to take a reef in. And had we not had this set up the way it's set up, I'm pretty convinced that we would have turned up and started falling backwards, which would have been highly dangerous. So we were able to get the reefs in really quickly.
To show that carbon track leak.
So we've closed the gate so that the cars run right down to the gooseneck, so that the sail doesn't stack too high.
It's ramped here, so the cars can roll down.
Yeah, so that was custom bit made, fitted. So we've got strong points here. So the pole downhaul fitting we've got matched with a dead eye down below, and then strops taking it down to the bottom of the hull. But these are also strong points. So for the spinnaker staysail, we can actually have the tack to windward on whichever jibe we're on, and then Jeanneau staysail onto the centerline one, and you can see that that's on a furler, as is the code 0. This is the furler for the code. We toyed around with top-down furlers, but we found we just don't need it. Bottom furling, it works perfectly fine on a boat this size. So essentially that's the deck fittings. So we'll take you down below and just give you a quick look through what we've done down below, just to make things work a little bit better. So we've got lee cloths on the outboard side, so we'll just store gear which ties up to the strong points here. They're just tidy out of the way when you don't need them, which is neat. On either side of the companionway we've got these screens to stop spray from getting over the nav table where the laptop is normally mounted, on that side, but also this side, just to try and contain any spray down the center of the boat here. Normally what we do is we stack the headsails on one side of the saloon table, and then the J0 code 0 on the starboard side, with spinnakers in the forepeak, unless we're using them. So we try and keep the floor space in the center of the boat here clear, so it's safe to move around. You know, you've obviously got the grab rails here, so it just makes it easy to come down below to grab a sail and move it out of the way. You can see that strong points forward there. So this boat, for the Sydney Hobart, you still have to have a HF radio. So we've got the HF radio here. It's the only race in the country where that's required. So most of the time it's just out of sight and out of the way.
Was it good having it in there behind there, or would it be better to have it out?
No, it's fine. Yeah, it works just fine. So we've got SATCOM here. So again, that's a safety requirement, and we've got a battery monitor below it. It was really important to me that we knew when we needed to recharge or not. So it just means we're running the engine for the minimum amount of time to recharge and make sure the batteries are at their best state. That's the connection for the laptop. Just sits on pads here. One of the reasons I put the lee cloths outboard like that is, rather than on the side of the bunkers, a lot of the safety gear and the anchors are under the bunks here. So we've got twin water tanks. Again, that's a Hobart requirement. So we've got symmetric tanks on either side.
And that's emergency water, which can't be used unless it's an emergency, and the 100 litres is there.
And then the anchors are forward here, so we've glued pad eyes down onto the hull, and that secures the anchors in place. And first aid kit is here, and flares are on this side. But the point I was making of keeping this free is, in an emergency, you don't want to have to be trying to get gear off here to get at an anchor or flares or whatever it is. So I wanted to keep the top of the bunks free. In light airs, it means we can actually use these to rest on, whereas in heavy airs, we're up the back. So you can see on the port side here, these boats have a hinged bunk, that works absolutely brilliantly. It's really comfortable. There's a moulding here which is actually very convenient for leaning on to get your feet into the bunk. It just makes that easy. You can see the water tanks on the outboard side here. So this version has the 200 litres of water per side.
Ballast.
That's what water ballast, yeah. So in this particular Hobart race, we only use the water ballast for about an hour and a half on the way in to the Derwent. Just the conditions in this race just didn't need it. So I didn't use it a lot at all. And I think that's essentially it. So we've just tweaked little things just to make the boat suit the kind of sailing that we're doing and how we want to use it. But there's no right or wrong way. Everybody has slightly different ideas about how to configure the boats for the conditions that they're racing in. So I hope that gives you a bit of a feel for what we've done.
Awesome, thank you, Lee. I'll just do a quick look around the rest of the boat. See the head up here. We added this after the boat arrived because we didn't need the holding tank. You can see the brace points there for the Jeanneau staysail and spinnaker staysail. And the water system, it's got two separate water tanks there. That's a bilge pump. You got to add a second manual bilge pump into the boat as well, which is located here with the roving hose. That's another requirement for Sydney to Hobart. So the only other thing we'll show is, just got missed quickly, is we added these cam cleats as well for the Code Zero furling line, which is very handy to have. And I'll just show you the other side, spare cam cleat, and all the extra jammers have been added, second tack line. And that's about it.
Gonna push?